All right, so last week they skipped an episode, or they didn't skip an episode, but they skipped a week.
Yeah.
Right, so we got it. It's been 2 weeks. Too long.
Yeah.
And I got like 2 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
A lot of twos going on here, so let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. All right, so at the beginning of this episode, we see them in sex ed. And, of course, this plays into Shauna's birthing. And just watching that makes me, like, there's no way. The thought of teaching kids sex ed, like teenagers sex ed, how old are they supposed to be there? Because I don't know what age you did it. But for me, it was 7th grade. 7th grade was sex ed.
Yeah.
I didn't do it in high school.
Yeah, I was in middle school.
So they're fudging this a bit.
Yeah.
Most kids...
But it's like a health class, too, so... I don't know. But they have like the bananas with the condoms on, so it is sex ed. I don't know.
We definitely did not watch a live birth.
I don't remember that at all.
And that, like, explosion in the vagina and everything. I was like, that is some graphic shit.
Yeah.
Did they really show kids, like, full-on births like that?
I mean,
this is my generation that I'm watching.
I don't know.
So I can speak from the generation that they're in on what we watched and what we did. And we sure as shit did not watch a video of someone giving a birth.
Yeah, I don't remember watching, like, a live birth, but... I don't think it's a bad thing. I mean, it's intense for sure, and that I think should definitely be shown to like older children, like not middle school. Like definitely high school would be more appropriate for that, but it's important to know, you know.
I mean, the point of teaching sex ed in 7th grade is like that's when kids start to really want to have sex.
Well, sure.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the age in which it's like, okay, like we gotta make sure you know what you're trying to get yourself into.
Yeah.
That's the point. But of course, there are people in this country that want there to be no sex ed, which is just crazy because there are tons of parents. But it's funny too because it's like the parents who don't want to teach their kids about it will also be the ones that like they'll reject them from going to that class.
Yeah.
So to me, it's like, how are they ever going to learn? But anyway. Pardon the interruption. Always got animal issues these days. Yes. So anyway, yeah, just watching that being like, I couldn't. Every time I've ever seen a depiction of sex ed being taught to kids in movies, it's always an insanely unpleasant experience for the teacher. Mm-hmm. And being in a class that did that, it's just, kids are annoying. Yeah. And... they're going to be really immature about it, and you just have to deal with that. And nope. Now, why is the coach of the soccer team teaching sex ed?
A lot of times coaches are also teachers.
Sure, but isn't it like we did it in science class?
Yeah. Right?
And our science teacher is the one who showed us. And he was like, I just press play on the tape. Right? I get that.
Yeah.
But shouldn't...
I don't know.
But that's what he says. He's like, he outright says, like, I just press play on the tape. He doesn't teach them shit.
Yeah.
So what kind of school do they go to where the teacher is pressing play on a tape for sex ed and then is just like, not saying anything else and knows nothing about it? That's not good.
That's not good. No.
That's not good. You need to be able to talk to the kids about it. Anyway, Shauna gives an old school birth in this. This is the way humans had to birth for thousands of years. According to Natalie, humans have been having babies for millions of years. This shows you how naive these kids really are. Humans have not been around millions of years, FYI. So I thought that was funny. But that very much meets, it lines up with their age and how little they know. This is how it was. This is how it was. And of course, we had kids much younger back in the day. So this is pretty accurate to how it was. And unfortunately, pretty often the kid, the mom, or both died
Yeah.
in childbirth.
Yes.
So, how shocked and surprised were you? We're going to jump way ahead here on the revelation, the reveal that the baby is actually just dead the whole time.
I was pretty shocked, actually. I was not expecting it. I definitely believed that the baby was alive, and
Sure.
was like totally in on that. So it was pretty surprising, but it makes sense. I mean, she's been starving out there, and it's freezing, and there's a lot of factors that would cause the baby to not be born correctly.
Well, sure, because it also came out feet first.
Right, and so yeah, it's very sad. Are they
Sure.
going to eat the baby?
I mean, her dreams at least made it seem like that's what she's either worried about or
Yeah.
it's trying to tell her that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. We've gotten a few visions now, right? Mm-hmm. We had before Jackie's death or during her death or whatever the hell, she was having these visions, and she was seeing the dude in the house, and she was seeing like her friends and all sorts of stuff, right? Then we got Lottie, who goes into the airplane, and she goes down to this hatch. She goes to a mall, like, so. There's a lot of visions going on now. What they all mean, and how much of what they're seeing has any relevance or importance or whatever, I don't know. I mean, we had talked and theorized about Lottie finding tunnels underneath the wilderness that they're in, where Javi probably survived, but we don't know, obviously, if that's true. The entrance might be at the stump. But obviously, there's a worry that they would eat the baby. I mean, for obvious reasons. But will they eat the baby? Probably not.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that they probably won't eat it. I think it's gonna be cremated, I suppose. They can't bury.
I mean, yeah, one of the only reasons I say no is because I don't think the showrunners and the show would do it. I don't think they have the balls to do it, because they kind of did it and then made it a dream sequence. Right, but they did kill the baby, but we knew it wasn't going to survive. And I think that they wanted to keep it from being too traumatic to where the baby is born and then slowly like starves to death or freezes to death. I know, like, I don't know.
That would have been really tough.
It's a stillbirth. I mean, the baby dies. Now, was the baby alive and the pregnancy killed it? Yeah, I'm assuming. I doubt that baby's been dead. They just
the whole time.
They couldn't get it out, and I don't know.
Yeah.
With their expertise, which is nothing,
right?
Misty's their go-to. In that situation, you need to be able to tell that the baby is upside down, and you need to rotate the stomach, to try to get the baby to spin, so that you can get the head to come out first. But I mean, these kids, how the hell are they going to do it? So, are they going to beat the baby? I'd say probably not. But like, is it possible that we could see like a couple of them sneaking out to eat the baby? Maybe. Maybe. In her vision, she sees Lottie breastfeeding her baby. Which is like, she's in control. She's the top dog. She's the queen bee. And just distrust is setting in.
Definite distrust.
And it even ends on like full Norman Bates denial of like, can't you hear my baby crying? And everyone's like,
like, nope, it's a dead baby.
We're gonna go. I think we're gonna go. So I know we talked about the end first. But it's definitely the main thing on my mind. So what do you guys think? You think they're gonna eat the baby? As I said, I doubt it, just because I don't think they have the balls to do it. But I really, personally, and I know this is screwed up, but I liked how it went. like that, Lottie was breastfeeding the kid, and then she came out and they all ate her kid.
Yeah.
If they ended the episode on that, this probably would have been my favorite episode.
Yeah, that would
just
because
I'm screwed in the head.
It was so brutal.
I was just like, oh, hell yeah. This is way screwed up. Where do we go from here? But then I told Kaylee, like, right as it was happening, I was like, it's a dream sequence.
Yeah.
I'm like, they don't have the balls to do this, but if they do, and then she wakes up, I'm like, boo.
Yeah.
But it threw me for a loop because I thought she was going to wake up and she's going to be, like, next to her baby. But then she wakes up and it's like, whoa.
Right.
Right.
She imagined all of it.
Yes. So that I don't know how I feel about that. Like making so much of the episode a vision without letting us know it's a vision. Because with Jackie and with Lottie, we're very aware it's a vision. This one is like a total cop out.
Yeah.
And so it kind of made me. It took a second, right, for us to be like, wait a minute, what? Right, it took you longer. You were like, wait. And I was
it's
like,
oh wait, like they're still at the the
right.
birth or what?
Right. And I guess the cutting the it's always the palms. Stop cutting your palms.
It did
but
not work.
Yeah, it didn't work. They gave sacrifices and everything.
Yeah.
And that didn't work.
It sure didn't.
So thanks, Lottie.
I know, right?
Thanks for nothing.
Thanks for a lot.
She was right about it being a boy, though.
She was.
Yeah. So, a lot of good it did. It's a dead boy, but there you go. And yeah, Misty full on freaks out during the birth.
Yeah. With the blood.
Well, I think the reason Misty freaks out is because she was supposed to deliver the baby with her friend.
Yeah.
And all she can think about is like she killed her.
Of course. Yeah.
Right. Then, but
super guilty feeling and shamed.
But Misty can disconnect.
Yeah.
Right. And she pulls herself together and comes on over there and kills the baby.
I know. And the baby still dies.
Yep. Baby still dies.
Shauna lives though, obviously.
Yes. Shauna's. Yeah. Who would have known? Who could have guessed that? The coach is just useless. The coach is just absolutely useless.
He's totally...
What does he do?
He just disassociates and, like, imagines himself with his boyfriend,
And this is the first time we've seen him straight up have, like, a delusion of, like, he's in the cabin with them.
Yeah.
That cabin that they're in. And it's all nice and fixed up, and they're playing freaking charades
and stuff, yeah.
But his vision is distorting like an old VHS tape.
Yes, it is. I like that. I don't know what that means. I don't know if that has a meaning, but it's a cool effect.
Yeah. I mean, I got no meaning. We're dealing with Van's VHS rental store.
Yeah.
But I don't see any connection between the two there. But the coach is useless, and they just need to eat his ass already.
He will be probably eaten soon.
Yeah. The girl, Akila?
With the mouse?
The black girl.
Yeah, with the mouse.
Yeah. She got a much bigger role in this episode.
Yeah.
Which is making me think, like, she's dead.
Right.
This is the same thing with the coach.
Yeah.
They're starting to give them more screen time, and I'm like, you're drawing attention to these guys because they're dead.
Yeah.
They're like, white meat or dark meat? What's on the menu tonight? They're going to eat them both. Okay? They're going to eat them both.
Yeah.
Or so I think. Who the hell knows?
Yeah.
All right. And this cop, like, I think, okay. I definitely, because Callie uses this against them. And I think she's smart to do so because I think it's right. Like,
yeah.
Conning some 18 at best year old girl. I don't even know. Is she 18?
I don't know. I thought she was in college, but I guess she's still in high school.
She's in high school, yeah.
I don't know what her age is.
Yeah. But she's young for sure.
Still, yeah.
And you know, conning her into believing that you guys are like a thing just to, you know, squeeze information out of her is just wrong. Yeah. I mean, I think that's wrong in general. Right? Like, anytime an undercover agent, I mean, we just watched The Fast and the Furious, and it's like, you can't be sleeping with the people that you're trying to get information out of. Like, that's just an added level of messed up. And the fact that, like, she shows up at the precinct and he's like smiling at her like ha
Oh my God,
ha,
yeah,
ha,
like, I got
in your
you.
face.
Yeah, he's such a douchebag.
That's
for
horrible.
sure. Yeah.
So I'm glad that she was like, let's see if a jury believes that he screwed me.
Right.
Right? Because, I mean, he outright explicitly says, like, he knows the rules. Like, he's not allowed to sleep with you.
Yeah.
But that's like, I mean, he's still very much like pretending to be romantic.
Yes.
This isn't like, oh, let's be friends.
No, yeah, he's like, he's trying to trick her into
falling for him and confiding
romantic
in him.
Feelings, huh?
Yes.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely. He's being really shitty.
Awful.
Yeah.
Just an awful, awful tactic to do to anybody. I don't care what her age is. Right? I mean, if she's underage, then I do care what her age is. But, like, other than that, it's like, it's just fucked up.
Yes.
To do. So I'm glad that she's doing that to him. Anyway, they somewhat, I think they pretty much outright express here something we had talked about being kind of a plot hole, so to speak. Still kind of is with Van, but with Lottie, everyone's just like, wait, what? Like, Shauna's like, I thought she was basically incoherent.
Yeah.
So, like, they just checked her off the list.
Right.
Because she's like in a mental institution.
Yes.
And that's what we had figured.
Yeah.
When we think we said that. But I just wanted to hear it outright expressed and addressed in the show. And it was.
Yeah.
Van, I don't got anything.
Yeah.
Why they wouldn't have her as a suspect on the list doesn't make sense to me. Because we know she lives in driving distance. And Shauna and because Thaisa takes like a truck or whatever to find her place, and then they're driving there and they call Jeff and Jeff tells Shauna and Shauna drives there and Shauna does get there before them, so where she's at is closer to the compound than where Van is, so they definitely drove a little ways, but it's within that same ish distance.
Yes.
So Van's not that far away.
No,
right? She's probably
not.
like
She's
3 hours
close.
away or something.
Yeah.
So the fact that they're like, and now she had to do, I don't know, did she know where this video store was? Because she had a file. That's how she found her.
Yeah.
But you would still think she would be like, Van's out there.
Yeah.
It's a plot hole.
It is. I agree. It is.
Because even if Thaisa didn't want to point a finger because they have a relationship,
Misty
would be the first person to be like, yeah, what about Van?
Yeah.
And even Misty, I feel, would be like, well, what about Lottie? How do we know she's still in a mental institution, right?
Unless she was, like, really positive that she was.
This is just 100% written in a way to confuse the audience so that there can be reveals of who's still alive.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we're going to find out there's still 1 or 2 more reveals of who's still around. And that will make even less sense of why they weren't suspicious of them. So this plot hole will get even bigger. It is what it is. You could just go with, they're only focusing and concerning themselves with people who live in the immediate vicinity. But it's like, what?
Yeah, that's
come on.
That's not
if
fair.
they're alive and on Earth,
they should be considered.
they're suspect.
Yes.
We got to move on from that, but
yeah, it's true though.
Yeah, whatever. Shout out to the shout out of Sleater Kinney, band I really like, and we get some very familiar tunes in here for me, the '90s kid, with Blur's song number 2 and. Oh man, yeah. Every episode I always get at least a couple songs that were big when I was in high school. Van and Ty will share a kiss.
Yeah.
And get back together in some capacity at some point.
Yeah, I definitely think that's coming for sure. Especially with them being in this like setting now where they're gonna all be together and something's gonna happen between them.
Sure. Especially when she's like, my wife left me.
Sure.
She hasn't given her that piece of information yet.
No, she hasn't. Yeah.
And the fact that she's in the hospital.
Right.
Dying, potentially. But yeah.
Crazy.
They're gonna hook up at some point.
Yeah.
And in my generation, hooking up means kissing. I know in most people's generation, hooking up is fucking, but that fucking is fucking. In my generation. I wrote stuff down here like baby won't latch and stuff like that, but I'm like, that didn't happen.
Right.
So there's not really any point in talking about any of that. And it was pretty funny to have Jeff out in the car listening to "Fuck the Police."
Yeah, right outside the police station. Yeah.
And Van's reaction to Lottie
is interesting.
It is interesting, and it very much feels like Lottie either senses Van or senses the crew.
Yeah.
I don't know what, because of how it's shot. It felt like Van.
It did, yeah.
But like maybe it's all of them.
I think it's all of them, but obviously Van is specifically reacting to her.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It was really interesting. Obviously Van too in the past was pretty involved and believed Lottie.
Yes.
So this is like a really big deal for her to be seeing her again.
Sure. I mean, if she is on the side of that, faction,
right,
where they go off and form at least two different groups.
Yeah.
And maybe Thais and Van are separated because of that schism. Mm-hmm. Seeing Lottie again, she probably hasn't seen her since the plane, and seeing her again is taking her back to like, oh yeah. Now, is it possible that Van and Lottie have some kind of romantic entanglement?
Sure.
After Ty and her separate, if they
that's what I was.
We're
thinking
speculating,
might
right? Like
happened.
that they do break off into
Yeah.
groupings, and this splits them up, and then Lottie comes in and steals her away.
Yeah.
I don't know. So if that's there, then there's this like love triangle going on that will be really screwed up. But yeah, I don't know. Lottie is her like cult leader, mm-hmm. And here she is again at the forefront of another cult. So I think Van's just like, whoa, like flashback central.
Yeah.
And then we find out that the compound is on top of a giant Yellowjacket symbol. I don't know what to call this thing.
Yes. I don't know what to call it either, but it is on that symbol, which obviously Lottie designed that, right?
So typically what it needed to happen with that is that someone would need to bleed on the symbol, right? And the symbol's typically small, right? Mm-hmm. And so you have to kill them in a very like specific small area. Mm-hmm. Like you have to cut their hand or their neck or whatever the hell over a small symbol, right? And in the case of like Travis's death, mm-hmm. that's a bigger symbol, mm-hmm. but here it's the entire yard, yeah. Right? It's the entire like outside area,
yeah.
Which is big,
really big,
right? It's a really big area. So if there's going to be any sacrifices or murders or killings or whatever going on, they can do it at anywhere. And I think that symbol is there specifically for a sacrifice.
I do too.
And for it to happen anywhere that they want outside.
Yeah.
Right? Because they can bleed on the symbol from absolutely anywhere when it's that big.
Yeah, yeah. I think that there's going to potentially be a lot of deaths. That would be really cool to see.
Of main characters or
of like the other people that are there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what's her name?
I don't know her name. Goldfish Girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, her, the guy that was talking to Misty, even.
I feel like,
I could see all those people somehow getting killed as a sacrifice.
I feel like Goldfish Girl, silly name. I do feel like we're setting her up to die.
Yeah, we were talking about that last.
So I think we'll have her either sacrifice herself or something for Nat, because she like gives her fish. She's really trying to bond with her.
Yeah.
So they're getting a pretty close connection there. So I think that, there's going to be, I think there's going to be a straight up slaughter, like, of a bunch of people on that big symbol.
That's what I was saying. I think that's going to happen
he
too.
wants blood.
Exactly. They're going to give him a lot of blood.
So it says 2 episodes ago or something. And Lottie's like, can't this be enough?
Yeah.
Or was that the last episode? It's been 2 weeks, so I can't remember.
It feels like it was 2 episodes ago, but it might have been the last one.
Or both.
Yeah.
Because I think there's 2 different scenes like that. It doesn't matter. So that's that. Yeah, it's funny. When we watched this, I was like, oh, that was crazy. And then Kayla was like, I don't really have much to say. And I was like, I don't either.
Yeah.
I don't either. Like, even though things happened and moved the linear plot forward, I still felt like it wasn't uneventful. It just felt like I don't know what to talk about.
It was just all kind of expected stuff. Really, the biggest thing is the birth, not, the dead child. Yeah. Otherwise, like, them getting all together, like, it makes sense that they would be getting together, bringing them, into one place. And, yeah, I don't know. I just didn't feel like there was a ton of, I don't know, not exciting, but just didn't have a lot to say about it.
This puts the baby stuff to bed, at least, right? We've been talking about the baby ever since Shauna announced that she was pregnant. Yeah. It's like, where's the baby? Is the baby one of these characters, right? Like, all that shit is finally done. Yeah. And the baby's dead. Yeah. And now we just have to wait to see if they eat him. Right. That's about it. Yeah. That's about it. Or, who knows? Maybe Lottie will cut her hand, or they'll all bleed on a symbol, and the baby will come back from the dead. I mean, that's possible. That's possible. I because Shauna believes he's alive and has a thing. Now, does she spend some time with her baby spirit before it crosses over? Like, is that what that scene is? That's what I was gonna say earlier. Like, because Jackie got a little time in that world, and Shauna did kind of die. Yeah. And this is what we've talked about, like, with these things where Travis finds out that you gotta be close to death before you can see. And Shauna is, like, passing out from lack of blood. Yeah. And on her deathbed, she recovers from it, but in that moment, that's when she has her visions. Yeah. Now with Lottie, she's not close to death when she has her vision, so I don't know that. Laura Lee should have had a vision before she blew up. I don't know, man. But regardless, maybe she did spend some time with her kid. And is she really hearing him crying? Or is this just another hint at she's seeing Jackie alive in the, out in the shed? Yeah. Right? Like, she straight up was talking to her like Norman's talking to Norma. Yes. Is that what's happening here? Is she going to, like, sit out with her baby and the baby's going to be crying and moving around? That'll be really messed up. And people are going to be like, bro, we got to get rid of this baby too. Yeah. Every time somebody dies, we got to get it away from Shauna.
Yeah, exactly. That would be pretty messed up.
Yeah. And just once again, that is not what a newborn baby looks like. I know it's hard to get a newborn baby on set, but that thing is months old. That is a gigantic baby. No wonder it died. Yeah, it's too big. If she had like a 20-pound baby, it would have killed her. Yeah. There's no way she could have got it out of herself. You got to look at the head. Like, I've had a couple kids. I know I know how big they are. They fit about here on my arm, and that baby was like it was here, a big baby. And its head was like this. There's no way. And the shoulders, I mean, we're talking the head. The shoulders are this big. Yeah. There's no way she's getting that thing out. Unless she's the chick from Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. First baby came out sideways. She won't be screaming or nothing. She's a real trooper. All right, guys, that's that. Until next week. Sorry this was a little more uneventful, but I mean, if you got other things to say in the comments below, let us have it. But we didn't get a ton from this episode to discuss. But we'll see you next week. We will. All right. Till then, guys.
Bye.
Bye.